You worked for Boeing during World War II, right? How did you find out about that job?
Well, my girlfriend, she moved to Seattle, and she told her folks she wouldn't go unless I could go too. And I promised her that I would come later. And I did. I took the train and went to Seattle. That was in 1943. And the job was waiting for me. I got a job at Boeing's. And I loved it there.
So after you'd get off work, you mentioned you'd go into town, you'd get all dressed up and go hear the big bands.
Oh,
what bands would you hear?
Oh, Harry James. Oh, Duke Ellington, Tommy Dorsey, and Jimmy Dorsey. As I said, Harry James. He was just married to Betty Grable. Yes. And then when I worked, I guess you call it the swing shift, we get off at midnight, and the dances started at midnight, and we just dance all night. It was...
Now, I guess your boss was kind of affectionate, had a kind of a thing for you. Didn't he write a poem for you and send it into the newspaper?
Yes, he did.
Do you remember that poem?
I remember most of it. I was so surprised I did cut it out and send it to my mother. And the poem he wrote was, "There's a sweet little girl I'd like you to meet, whose flashing eyes make your heart skip a beat. She's not snobbish, no, not one bit, nor does she think that she's just it. She's busy at work most of the while, but she always has time for a cheery smile. She herself may be ill and blue, but she'd never convey that fact to you. She's neat and trim, oh yes, very neat, the type to knock you off your feet. Who is this girl I vote to the sky? I'm sure you know her as well as I. But to be sure you're on the beam, the girl of this verse is our own Darlene." And that was in the paper, and I was shocked. I didn't think he'd put a poem like that in the paper. And I cut it out and sent it to my mother, and she thought that was so nice, she put it in her Bible.
I remember once you told me about where you and your lady friends would eat your lunch. Why don't you talk about that a minute? You told me you sat in the cockpit of the planes you built.
Oh, well, I got the pictures, but that's not those.